What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's CJ and welcome to episode 3 of me trying to play the Monopoly Christchurch edition in real life. Now if you're new around here, let me get you up to speed. So in this series, every time we roll our dice, we have to travel to the location our piece lands on. But not only that, there's also an extra twist of having to use a different vehicle for every single time. And that is decided using the spin of a wheel. In episode 1, we ended up landing on a chance and going to New Brighton Beach on an e-scooter. And in episode 2, we had to go to the International Antarctic Centre to ride an Antarctic hagland. Now for episode 3, I have made a slight adjustment to the rules and I'll explain that later on in the video. But right now, it's time to roll the dice. Now I'm sure you're familiar with the drill by now. We have our chance cards and we have our community chest cards. And we also have our little dog who is currently on the Antarctic haglands. Alright guys, so here we go with our next roll of the dice. Wish me luck. Oh, okay, so we've got 2 4s, we've got 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that is where we have landed. We are on the Christchurch Gondola. You can see our dice, we've got 2 4s, and we started on the haglands. So there we go, we've now got our destination for this week's video, but you know what's next? We need to figure out how we're getting there. It's time for the random spinning wheel. So as you may remember from last week, we landed on a transport square, so we didn't actually spin the wheel in last week's episode. And there's also not been any new comments left on last week's episode, so we still have the same 9 methods of transport. There they all are loaded into the wheel, so it's time for us to spin it. I'm kind of hoping to get a bus because actually a bus stopped right outside my house and it stops directly at the gondola, so fingers crossed. Let's spin the wheel. You've got to be kidding me. So not only did we not land on the bus, probably got the worst one. We have landed on walking. Now just to give you a bit of an idea of just how bad that roll was, after doing a quick search on Google Maps, to drive there would have been 11 minutes. To get the bus there would have been 19 minutes, but we didn't land on either of those, we landed on walking. 3 hours and 16 minutes. This is going to be a long episode. Well, seeing as it's already late, I best get a move on. So I've just left the house now, officially on the way. Time now is 11:52, so we'll see how long it takes for us to get all the way there. It shouldn't actually take us long because despite Google Maps saying it was going to take around 3 hours, that track was taking us like up through the mountain for some reason. And I looked on Apple Maps afterwards and it turned out that we can literally walk just one road pretty much all the way there, which is only going to take about 2 hours and 10 minutes instead. Considerably less time, a lot less elevation. Rule change. Avid viewers of this channel may remember this clip. Now for episode 3, I have made a slight adjustment to the rules and I'll explain that later on in the video. And now you're probably thinking to yourself, CJ, how are you changing the rules? Why are you just making things up again? Is there any point of life? No, but that's not the point. Now anyone who is familiar with the Christchurch game may have seen a lot of the discrepancies online. Now I found it myself quite strange how after the point where we are, it was pretty much just shopping centres and schools, not your typical tourist destinations. Now it turns out a lot of local Cantabrians also thought the same thing, as after looking on Reddit, I saw this. So apparently it wasn't just me that thought that adding things like schools and shopping centres over actual tourist attractions was a bit of a strange move for the Monopoly board. And so I've taken it upon myself to replace them with many of the other attractions that were actually recommended by locals. So if you were thinking to yourself, I don't remember there being a Christchurch Gondola on the Monopoly board, you're right, there wasn't. I added it in, along with 5 other attractions that were all recommended on this Reddit page by Christchurch locals. So hopefully that will keep the rest of the game a little bit more interesting. I mean that we don't have to take some strange mode of transport to a public school, which might be quite strange. Now, if you are wondering what a gondola is exactly, don't worry, because so did I. It's actually one of these. what the rest of the world would call a cable car. Even when you search online for a gondola, it's going to bring up a typical gondola, like the Venetian ones, which Christchurch does also have, but they call it punting. Kiwis, right?
I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it.
But we best get back to it, still got quite a way to go yet. So I've been walking for about an hour now, roughly around halfway there. I'm not sure exactly what route Apple Maps is taking me, but I think I might have gotten lost somewhere in the Jurassic period, because there's a dinosaur there. Got about 22 minutes left until we get to the gondolas, and I've just spotted them for the first time up there on the mountain. You can see just up there on the top, there is the cafe building, and if you look carefully you can just see the cables coming all the way down. The one thing that I am glad about is that about 2 hours ago it was actually really cloudy, and now it's come out lovely and clear, which means that when we do get to the top we should get some fantastic views. We're just around the corner from the gondola. I can just see the building at the bottom of the mountain in front of me for the first time, and the time is 2:36. So we left at 10 to 12. Apple Maps said 2 hours 10 minutes, and it's been about 2 hours and 45. That's not too bad considering that I did stop for lunch. Fell into the bakery. 5 more minutes and we'll be there. Booked online already.
Yeah, what was the order number?
CH122625. Thank you.
Cheers.
We're just heading into the gondola now. Gondola montage. So we're only about halfway up the mountain and the cable car's just stopped. Like, you can see down the bottom we're barely moving. Oh, we're moving again now, it's all good. Thank you. I've just arrived up here at the top of the mountain and just got off the gondola, and honestly some of these views are fantastic. Let me show you. Now, as much as it's an absolutely beautiful day, I definitely recommend coming to do this in summer because it's absolutely freezing up here. I did actually bring my drone up here with me as well to try and get some cool shots, but it is far too windy to try and fly it today. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if you're allowed to, so enjoy this instead. I saw when we came in as well, there's a ride downstairs, history of New Zealand or something like that, so I'm just going to go down and do that one now.
Welcome to Aotearoa, New Zealand. In a distant time, the ancient continent of Gondwana broke into pieces, each drifting slowly away. Moa were hunted by Maori, who arrived here more than 700 years ago.
Folks are seasick and poorly. Conditions aboard are terribly trying. It is damp and cramped and smelly. Although we do our best to keep our spirits bright.
Last night up on the deck we got the sweetest scent upon the air. The captain says it's the perfume of New Zealand's Manuka forest. He says we only have days away from land.
They own faithful kumara.
And gifted us some fine fresh fish as well.
In return, he is sharing with them the wonders of God.
We've decided to farm sheep here on the Canterbury Plains. They thrive on the native grasses and can endure the harsh winters.
Christchurch in 1851. It is changing almost daily, it seems.
Thank you. Now that was kind of interesting, but anyone who knows me knows that I'm absolutely terrified of waxwork dummies, and to be honest, that really overshadowed anything educational that could have happened in that ride, and I didn't really pay too much attention. So, fun fact, this bay behind me is actually an extinct volcano. It was actually formed around 10 million years ago, and that's what helped to form the whole bay that you can see here behind me. And there we go, we're making our way back down. Could have easily spent more time up there, didn't even get to go to the cafe, but it did close about 10 minutes ago. So that means it is the end of episode 3. Remember to like and subscribe and leave your comments for suggestions for transport for next week's video. See you later. One road, pretty much all that. Oh, that's really overexposed. Just tripped over that fluorescent green thing. There's fluorescent green, so you don't trip over it. What a...